When love faces the devastating challenge of alcoholism, the relationship becomes an emotional battlefield where every decision can determine the couple's future. The reality is that many couples underestimate the impact of alcoholism, believing that love alone will be enough to overcome the challenges. But what if I told you that, most of the time, love alone is not enough? That there's an invisible battle happening, where the pain of addiction can destroy everything you've built together? In this video, we'll explore the major challenges of alcoholism in relationships, revealing how it can erode trust, destroy intimacy, and turn your home into a minefield. But before anything else, you'll discover how healing is possible and that, with the right tools, you can not only survive but also thrive together despite the adversities. Get ready for a journey of revelations that could change the way you see your relationship. When addiction enters the home, trust is one of the first victims. Alcoholism can destroy relationships silently, corroding the solid foundation that once united the couple. Imagine a relationship where broken promises and missed connections become frequent. The impact of alcoholism on love goes beyond what you see on the surface. Every glass raised in a toast of pain is a step closer to the abyss of distrust. Communication, once fluid and honest, starts to be invaded by uncomfortable silences and lies disguised as excuses. When one partner begins to rely on alcohol, open and honest conversation becomes a difficult task. The lack of healthy communication leads to misunderstandings and hurt feelings, which only fuel the vicious cycle. It is at this point that many couples find themselves cornered, struggling to rescue. What remains of the relationship? Trust, the foundation of any lasting relationship, begins to disintegrate, leaving a trail of uncertainty and insecurity. Practical examples show how transparency can be a way back. Imagine a couple where one partner decides to confront their alcoholism, acknowledging its impact. They begin to establish small moments of daily dialogue, without accusations, only with the desire to understand and support. Small gestures, like asking, "How are you feeling today?" can be a start to rebuilding that foundation of trust and begin healing the emotional wounds caused by alcohol abuse. The feeling of isolation, which often accompanies addiction, can be alleviated by resuming dialogue. Trust is not regained overnight, but with continuous effort and honesty, it is possible to restore the lost connection. And it's important to remember that, although the process is painful, healing is possible when both partners are willing to work together to overcome the challenges posed by alcoholism. Identifying the signs that alcohol is becoming a problem in the relationship can be complicated, especially when love and affection come into play. When addiction starts to infiltrate the couple's routine, the first signs may be subtle, but no less concerning. Toasts of pain begin to replace celebrations of happiness, and outings that were once fun turn into occasions of excess. It is at this moment that one must be attentive to the signs that indicate alcohol abuse is taking a dominant role. The signs can vary, from changes in behavior to increased frequency of alcohol consumption. Perhaps you notice that your partner begins drinking to cope with daily stress, or that promises to cut back or quit never materialize. These signs are clear indicators that alcoholism is starting to corrode the relationship. It is crucial to address these signs with empathy and sensitivity, avoiding direct confrontation that may trigger defensiveness. A practical example would be observing constant excuses to drink, such as, "just to relax," or "just for today." These signs are alarms that alcohol is becoming an emotional crutch, and dialogue should be initiated as soon as possible. Approaching the partner with open-ended questions like, "Do you realize you're drinking more than before?" or "What do you think is causing this increase in drinking?" can open the door for a productive and compassionate conversation. Recognizing these early signs and acting promptly can be the key to preventing alcoholism from destroying relationships that could otherwise be healthy and happy. The challenge lies in balancing care for the partner and protection of the relationship, understanding that addressing the problem early can make all the difference in the couple's future. When alcoholism enters the scene, it often brings along a dangerous companion, codependency. This cycle, where one partner relentlessly tries to save the other, ends up feeding the alcohol abuse and perpetuating destructive patterns. The impact of alcoholism on love is amplified by codependency, where the desire to help turns into a burden that drains both emotional and psychological energy. The cycle becomes difficult to break, as the fear of loss and a sense of obligation intertwine, creating a toxic bond. Codependency manifests when one partner starts living for the other, neglecting their own needs in favor of excessive care and protection. Typical examples include covering up for the alcoholic's behavior, justifying their actions, or taking on responsibilities that don't belong to them. This, instead of helping, only allows the alcohol abuse to continue, feeding the illusion that everything is under control. In reality, codependency only reinforces the addiction, creating an environment where alcoholism can destroy relationships even more deeply. Breaking this cycle requires significant self-awareness and courage. A practical example would be implementing clear boundaries, like refusing to cover up or justify the partner's behavior. Establishing these boundaries is not easy, especially when codependency has already taken root in the relationship dynamic, but it is a necessary step to interrupt the cycle and start a path of healing. Seeking professional help, such as individual or couples therapy, can be crucial for both partners, enabling them to deal with codependency and alcoholism in a healthy way. Recognizing that helping the other does not mean losing oneself is the first step to breaking this cycle. The challenge lies in balancing support with preserving one's own identity and well-being, understanding that sometimes the best help one can offer is allowing the other to face their own battles while remaining firm in one's journey of self-discovery and growth. When alcoholism takes hold in a relationship, the partner's role in supporting recovery becomes crucial. However, this journey is delicate and requires balancing offering support while protecting one's own mental health. The impact of alcoholism on love can be devastating, but when a partner decides to face this battle alongside the one struggling with addiction, the chances of overcoming it increase significantly. However, it's essential that the support offered is firm but does not overburden or sacrifice the well-being of the supporting partner. One of the most effective strategies for supporting an alcoholic partner is to educate oneself about addiction and the best support practices. For example, participating in support groups like Al-Anon can offer valuable tools to understand what's at stake and how to act in ways that promote recovery. Additionally, it's important that the partner maintains their own identity, hobbies, and support network, avoiding letting their life revolve exclusively around the other's addiction. This helps prevent codependency and ensures both have a healthy space to develop. The partner's role is not just emotional support but also as an encourager to seek professional help. A practical example would be encouraging the alcoholic to seek therapy or participate in a rehabilitation program, accompanying them to some sessions if necessary. Partnering during moments of crisis, such as preventing the other from relapsing, might include establishing contingency plans, like an emergency contact list or activities that can divert attention from the urge to drink. These actions show commitment without assuming responsibility for the other's addiction. Maintaining the mental health of the helping partner is crucial, as without it, support can turn into an additional burden. Thus, the challenge is finding a balance between helping the other regain their life and preserving your own, remembering that the recovery process is a marathon, not a sprint. The next step is understanding how alcoholism can become the third person in a relationship, replacing love and intimacy with a growing void. When alcohol persistently enters a relationship, it can easily become the third person, occupying the space that should be reserved for affection, respect, and intimacy. The impact of alcoholism on love manifests itself in a cruel way, replacing moments of connection with distance and misunderstandings. What was once a relationship of complicity and affection is now permeated by arguments about excessive drinking, erratic behaviors, and the gradual disappearance of the partnership that once existed. Alcohol, in this context, is not just a substance but an intruder that infiltrates the couple's daily dynamics. It alters mood, priorities, and even the perception of reality, creating a chasm between the partners. Practical examples of this scenario include canceling plans due to intoxication or replacing meaningful conversations with silences loaded with frustration. What should be a mutual exchange of affection and support becomes a constant battle against a substance that now dictates the relationship's rules. Intimacy, both emotional and physical, is one of the first areas to suffer from alcohol's constant presence. The partner who is not involved in the addiction may feel rejected, neglected, and even betrayed, as alcohol seems to have become the priority in the other's life. Trust, which is the foundation of any healthy relationship, begins to disintegrate, giving way to feelings of alienation and despair. The feeling of being in second place, behind alcohol, can be devastating and push the relationship to a breaking point. To combat this intrusion, it is necessary for both partners to acknowledge the problem and be willing to act. A possible approach is for the couple to seek professional help together, participating in therapy sessions that address both the addiction and the relationship dynamics. Redefining priorities and setting clear boundaries can help restore the intimacy and connection that were lost. And so, the journey to rescue the relationship begins, paving the way to address the impact of alcoholism on the couple's sexual life, which is the next point to be discussed. Alcoholism not only affects the mind and body but can also have a devastating impact on the couple's sexual life. When addiction enters the home, intimacy, a fundamental pillar of any relationship, begins to suffer the consequences. The impact of alcoholism on love is also manifested in the bedroom, where alcohol can destroy relationships by creating physical and emotional barriers between partners. The energy, connection, and desire that once flowed naturally are gradually replaced by frustration, distance, and a sense of disconnection. Alcohol abuse can lead to problems such as decreased sexual desire, erectile dysfunction, and difficulty maintaining emotional intimacy. These issues not only affect the sexual satisfaction of both partners but also create a cycle of resentment and hurt. Communication about sexual needs and desires becomes tense or non-existent, and the bedroom, which should be a refuge of love and affection, turns into a space of disappointment and loneliness. Alcohol, instead of relaxing and connecting, ends up driving the partners further apart. Practical examples of this impact might include replacing intimate moments with nights of heavy drinking, where the partner affected by alcoholism becomes incapable of engaging emotionally or physically. The perception of rejection or lack of interest from the partner can lead to a breakdown of trust and self-esteem, further exacerbating the situation. For those facing this reality, finding ways to re-establish intimacy is crucial. This may include honest conversations about how alcohol is affecting the relationship and sexual life, and exploring together alternatives to strengthen the lost connection. Overcoming these challenges requires patience and commitment from both sides. Reigniting the flame of intimacy might involve reducing alcohol consumption, seeking medical help for alcohol-related sexual issues, and creating new routines of connection that do not involve drinking. The process may be long, but with joint effort, it is possible to regain sexual life and, with it, an important part of the relationship. This is just one of the many challenges that arise when alcohol takes control, and the next issue to face is the link between emotional trauma and alcoholism. The connection between emotional trauma and alcoholism is deep and complex, often rooted in painful experiences from the past that continue to reverberate in the present. The impact of alcoholism on love is often exacerbated by these unresolved emotional wounds, which lead a person to seek in alcohol a way to numb the pain. These toasts of pain, however, end up creating a vicious cycle, where alcohol not only fails to heal the trauma but deepens it, creating new problems that further burden the relationship. Traumas like abuse, loss, or abandonment can be powerful triggers for alcohol abuse, as the person tries to find temporary relief from emotional anguish. However, what begins as a way to escape suffering can quickly evolve into an addiction that destroys the ability to deal with problems in a healthy way. Practical examples include people who, when facing a traumatic memory, turn to alcohol to forget, only to find that feelings of guilt and shame increase as alcohol takes over their lives. For couples facing this reality, it is vital to recognize that alcoholism is often a symptom of deeper pain. Addressing the underlying trauma may be the first step in breaking the cycle of abuse. Therapy, whether individual or couples, can help explore these wounds and develop strategies to deal with them without turning to alcohol. One example might be practicing cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps identify negative thought patterns and replace them with healthier, more constructive alternatives. Overcoming the impact of alcoholism and the emotional trauma that fuels it is a task that requires time, patience, and above all, compassion. It is a healing process that must be done together, but where each partner also needs to take care of themselves. The next step is to understand how alcoholism can increase the risk of domestic violence and how to recognize and deal with this threat in a relationship. Alcoholism and domestic violence are often intertwined in a dangerous cycle, where alcohol abuse serves as fuel for aggressive and destructive behaviors. The impact of alcoholism on love can manifest brutally when alcohol ceases to be just a substance and becomes a catalyst for violent outbursts. When addiction enters the home, the environment becomes unpredictable and often frightening, as the alcoholic partner's behavior can become erratic and dangerous. It is alarming, but not uncommon, for excessive alcohol consumption to lead to episodes of violence, whether verbal, emotional, or physical. Alcohol can lower inhibitions and exacerbate feelings of anger or frustration, resulting in behaviors that put the safety and well-being of the partners at risk. Practical examples of this scenario include arguments that quickly escalate into physical altercations, or a person who becomes controlling and abusive under the influence of alcohol. The constant presence of tension and fear destroys the foundation of any healthy relationship. For those who find themselves in a situation where alcoholism and domestic violence coexist, it is crucial to recognize the seriousness of the situation and seek help immediately. Intervention may involve contacting support services, such as emergency hotlines or shelters for victims of violence, as well as seeking legal counsel to ensure the safety and rights of the victim. It is vital to remember that violence is never justifiable and that protecting physical and emotional integrity must be the priority. Breaking this dangerous cycle requires not only the decision to leave the abusive relationship but also the ongoing support of networks that can help with emotional recovery and rebuilding life after trauma. While it is essential to address the violence, it is also fundamental to take care of oneself during this process, which leads us to the next topic: the importance of self-care when dealing with an alcoholic partner. When alcoholism enters a relationship, it is easy for the unaffected partner to be consumed by worry and the desire to help. However, it is crucial to remember that to effectively support someone, it is necessary to take care of oneself first. The impact of alcoholism on love often manifests as emotional and physical exhaustion for the partner trying to save the relationship. Practicing self-care is not selfish, but a vital necessity to maintain sanity and health amid the chaos that addiction can cause. Self-care can take many forms, from ensuring time for activities that bring joy and relaxation to seeking support in groups or individual therapy. It is important to establish clear boundaries and learn to say no when necessary, protecting oneself from the cycle of codependency that can easily form. By taking care of themselves, the partner is also creating a stronger foundation to offer genuine and balanced support without losing themselves in the process. It is fundamental to recognize that no one can bear the weight of alcoholism alone and that seeking external help is a sign of strength, not weakness. By investing in their well-being, the partner not only preserves their mental health but also positions themselves more effectively to help the other recover, ensuring that both can face the challenge together in a healthier way. Seeking help for issues related to alcoholism in a relationship can be challenging, mainly due to the stigma that still surrounds addiction. Often, couples avoid seeking support out of fear of judgment or shame, letting the problem worsen in silence. The impact of alcoholism on love can be devastating when the couple does not feel comfortable admitting that they need help. However, it is important to remember that facing addiction together and seeking therapy or counseling can be the first step toward recovery. Breaking this taboo requires courage and the willingness to prioritize the relationship's well-being above the fear of what others might think. A practical example would be starting the process of couples therapy, where both partners can express their concerns and work together on strategies to deal with alcoholism. Therapy provides a safe and confidential space to explore the relationship dynamics and find ways to rebuild trust and intimacy that have been shaken by addiction. Overcoming the stigma also means recognizing that alcoholism is a disease that requires treatment, just like any other health condition. Seeking help as a couple is not a sign of failure but rather a demonstration of commitment to recovery and strengthening the bond. By joining forces in this process, partners can turn a crisis into an opportunity for growth and renewal, paving the way for the joint overcoming of alcoholism. Overcoming alcoholism in a relationship is a monumental challenge, but there are inspiring stories of couples who managed to face this challenge together and came out stronger than ever. The impact of alcoholism on love is profound, but when both partners commit to facing the addiction as a team, the chances of success increase significantly. These couples show us that despite the toasts of pain and difficulties, it is possible to rebuild a relationship based on recovery and renewed mutual commitment. These stories often involve a combination of professional support, such as therapy and support groups, with the determination of both partners not to let addiction destroy what they have built together. Practical examples include couples who, after years of struggle, decided to seek rehabilitation and rediscovered the love and intimacy they had lost to alcohol. Their journey was not easy, but the reward was a deeper relationship, based on honesty, respect, and mutual understanding. For those in the midst of this battle, these stories of overcoming serve as beacons of hope, showing that with the right support and the willingness to change, it is possible to turn pain into strength and despair into a new opportunity to love. The important thing is to never give up, recognize that recovery is an ongoing process, and that together, it is possible to overcome even the toughest challenges that alcoholism can bring. Now that you understand the depth and complexity of the impact of alcoholism on relationships, the question remains, what are you willing to do to save the love you've built? Each insight shared here is not just a reflection but a call to action. Are you ready to face these challenges head-on and turn the pain into a new opportunity for growth? If you identified with these themes, know that change begins with small steps. Apply what you've learned today, seek the necessary support, and don't let alcoholism destroy what can still be saved. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue exploring how to overcome challenges in your relationship. Together, we can build a journey of love and recovery.